Hello, everybody. My name is Letícia. I'm talking from Rio de Janeiro. I'm very happy to talk to you. I think if we can bring anything positive about this crisis, is a stronger sense of collaboration and community that goes across borders and countries. I'll share this presentation with Mateus. We are only two, but the team is big, a lot of professors, researchers, and students working in the Brazilian branch of VODAN, the Virus Outbreak Data Network. Today, we're not presenting a US sprint, but an overview of the project and some details about two parts of it. The general goal of this project is to collect raw data from hospitals about patients with COVID using the World Health Organization case report, as you're doing, and then enrich the data using ontologies. As you can see in this graph, we have in this part the hospitals and then a support database. And then in this process, we enrich the data, and then we will transform this raw data into a knowledge graph in a fair data point here at the end that will hopefully leverage research through a better understanding of the meaning of the data, interchange, and interoperability among several institutions. These hospitals here, they use different systems, and data can come in multiple formats. In some cases, the information needed for the CRF is complete, and we can only perform an ETL to load the data into our database. But in some cases, it's needed to complete the information to collect this data directly from the hospitals. And for this purpose, we're building web applications, which is very similar of what you're doing there. The data entry in this case will be performed by medical teams at the front end. So we paid special attention to the user interface. We asked our colleagues from the Industrial Design School of the State of Rio University to design the interface. So this interface was not designed by technical guys, but for the designers. So they built a prototype, and I will share the link for this design prototype in the chat so you can explore all the screens and how they solved the interface problems for each question. It's in Portuguese, but I think it will be interesting for you anyway to see how they solved small problems in the design interface. And they also tested the interface wearing personal protective equipment to check if the buttons and the letters would work well in stressful situations in the front line. So, the general architecture of the software development was determined by the several capabilities. The Fiocruz, the health organization that leads the project, should store the data, and the available technology was a PHP web server with the relational database MySQL. This infrastructure led us, so we could use only HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, and the database. This led us to choose the Laravel framework. This framework integrates the PHP language with the modern front-end capabilities. So we could implement the designer's requests. And if you invite us again, I can go into deeper details about the software development and show a working demo next sprint for you. And now I will leave you with Mateus. He will present you the database model and show the details of our choices.
Hello guys, I'm Mateus, and I'm going to talk about the support database. This is the same image that Leticia showed, but it's circling in the support database that's located between two steps of our project. The first is the part of the collecting the data for hospital units, and the other steps in the future you're going to take that's translate all this data to RDF and other language to increase the reuse of data. And the principle for modeling this whole database, it's from the forms of the COVID-19 rapid version from the World Health Organization that you know, and the ontology COVID-CRF rapid that's based on this form. And this ontology was made at the same time we are starting to create our database. So the database, the sports database, it's set. This is a logic model of it, and it's separated in different groups that by colors, of course. And the core of the database, it's the green one, this questionnaire composition based on ontology, and we make it very dynamically changing. So we can add new forms, new versions of forms, add new questions, all this type of things. On the left part of the slide is the questionnaire information records on orange. That's where we locate all the answers that we have in the form. And the final part, it's on the right. Sorry, it's the association of ontologies that we to give more data to all this database. We add the ontology with description, version, license, a lot of other data to increase the data of this database and add more ontology and this type of things. And one important thing is the support for internationalization. It's two tables on the right that are talking about, of course, we are in Brazil, we speak Portuguese, but the whole database, all the data of this database, it's in English. But to show to the medical workers, we show it in the application in Portuguese. So, of course, I cannot talk about the whole database to you by the time, but I highlighted two important parts of this database. The first one, it's on the questionnaire composition ontology, that we have two tables, the list type, the list of values, that is to summarize make the recitation of established values and answer regarding the list of types of the form. So we have an example of the antiviral list on the right, that all the pre-established values that you have in the form are stored in the database to control consistency and anonymous data, all this type of things. Another highlighted part, it's on the patient performance records. It's a table participants. It's the registration of the participants of this project, the patients, that we have two IDs, different IDs, the participants IDs with medical center codes plus the participants number generated by the medical center. That was made by the World Health Organization. And we have the medical records, that is the number of the patient medical records at the hospital. Sorry. This is like we make that to not have duplicates on your database, and for the consistency of the database, the data of this database, because we can have the same medical record at two different hospital units. And of course, when we are dealing with medical data, we need to anonymize some parts of the data, principally in the demographic parts. So we are dealing with all of that. And the next steps that we are doing, and next steps we are doing for now in modeling the provenance metadata. That's so important, principally for this type of projects, and modeling for access control. It's important too, because we are dealing with medical data, and it's reached by laws and this type of things. So that's it, the presentation. Thank you a lot for letting us to present our project. And if does anyone have any question, feel free to answer.